Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome back on in to the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It's the holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year, unless you're getting hurt and you're losing goalies and you're slipping in power rankings and other disaster is befalling you. We will get you caught up on everything happening in the hockey world and who we might be describing there that piece. Of course, you might also be maybe getting reunited with some family members. What could be more holiday festive than that? In which there's some other hockey teams that we could be describing there. We'll let you know everything going on there with those teases. The Olympics, they're going to be going on. Will NHL players be involved in them or not? We will get you caught up on the latest conversation there from Italy on what the NHL players and teams are looking for, and might the situation yet be tenable. We've also got collegiate rankings to get you caught up on, and the PWHL is in full swing. All that plus more right here, right now on the Neutral Zone. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome back into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am Adam. He is Freddie. Together, we do this thing every single week, get you caught up on everything going on around the hockey world, the NHL, the PWHL, the NCAA, international hockey, whatever we feel like talking
whatever,
about,
man. Street hockey, foot hockey, broom
pond
hockey. We cover it all.
There's a beer league somewhere we could find and talk about somewhere too. All that plus more. Welcome on in. We are so glad that you are here. Drop us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from, who your teams are, what's foremost on your mind. We've got our list of things we're going to talk about, but at the same time, we are always happy to talk, discuss, and debate whatever you've got going on as well. So welcome all, everybody watching tonight across YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We're glad to see you here. Glad that you guys are here. Oh, we got a Ducks fan in the house.
Hey, Stanley. All right, we'll be talking some Ducks shortly.
Yeah, we got to talk about what happened on Sunday. That was very rude. As a Blackhawks fan, that was quite rude what the Ducks did. Of course, at the same time, you know.
Yeah, I want to talk about what they did last night. An incredible way to lose a game for the Penguins and the Ducks to go in there and steal a huge 2 points in a game that they should have come away with nothing.
The Ducks are being impressive overall, just continuing to impress night in and night out. So yes, we will be discussing that team out in Anaheim a little bit tonight. We've got all that plus more. So welcome on in. Let's dive right in. So we always like to start off the show looking at the games going on across the league right now as we speak. I'm getting them pulled up right now. We've got, of course, I had the number and I lost it. 1, 2, 3. Four games on the docket in the NHL tonight. 3 of them are active. One literally is dropping the puck as we speak. One is going to get started around the time that we probably get off the air tonight. And we got 2 others going on. In the second,
both our teams are playing.
They are. In the second intermission in Chicago, the Blackhawks handling the Rangers 2-0 right now. Connor Bedard and Louis Crevier are the two goal scorers for the Hawks at the moment. 17 saves on the evening as well. It's got to be Spencer Knight in goal tonight, right? I saw that and then I lost it. That's wrong team. Give me the other one. There we go. Yes, Spencer Knight, 17 saves for Knight so far on the evening.
Nice bounce back after pretty rough weekend for both Blackhawk goalies. So
after a miserable weekend, yes. And they don't even have to be going to New York to be shutting out the Rangers too. That's the other nice thing. The shutout is following New York.
Yes,
Not so good for the Rangers. And then meanwhile, up in Calgary, late in the first, the Red Wings all over the Flames, 2-0. Alex DeBrincat, his 15th of the season, and then Axel Sandin-Pellikka, his 3rd of the year.
I like that guy a lot.
I do too. I like Axel. Not only are they up 2-0, though, they are out shooting the Flames 7-2 with 5.5 minutes left to go in the first period. That is some good puck possession.
Yeah, good for them. And everybody in Calgary, they go on a little run and they win a couple of games and everybody thinks that they're going to be a playoff team again. And then Detroit comes in and shuts that conversation up very quickly. Calgary is not a playoff team. That was a little run that some teams do have throughout the season. So don't get your hopes up if you're up in Calgary.
You do. Now, to be fair, the Red Wings have blocked 4 shots, so that's skewing the numbers a little bit. But still, anytime your goalie only has to make 2 saves through the first, 3 quarters of a period, you will take that and you'll be very happy with it. Patrick Kane already with 2 assists on the night, and DeBrincat an assist as well as a goal. So already multi-point nights for the Cat and for Kane. There for the Red Wings. Good evening, Brian. Brian Francione hopping into the chat. He went to his first ever PWHL game last week. Give us a scattering report on that. Got to see the Boston Fleet, the top team in the PWHL last week. Give us a report, Brian. How was your time there? What did you think of the Fleet? So the 2 games going on right now in the NHL, the Panthers and the Mammoth, they almost literally just dropped the puck. No score there. Utah, the lone shot on net at the moment. Still 16.5 minutes left to go in the first in that one. And then later on tonight, the Kings taking on the Kraken.
Yeah, baby.
Up in Seattle. Am I wrong in saying that if the Kings come away with any less than 2 points, this was a failure of a night for the Kings? Am I being too hard on the Kraken?
No, not at all. Well, the Kings, we played so poorly for a big stretch of time where we couldn't score a goal. The game either 2-1 in favor or you lose by the 2-1 score. So then they come out and the second game that the Hawks were in town and they put up a 6-pack on them and win 6-0. And then we score 4 the other night in Utah. So I don't know what's clicked, but the offense is starting to come together. We're getting good production. This is a good team, and they're going to start playing well. And maybe whatever happened finally clicked. The power play still sucks, but you got to come away with 2 points here tonight, especially after how the Pacific Division games ended last night. Some crazy finishes amongst all the Pacific Division teams, but you got to get those 2 points. Seattle is a division team as well. So, I think the Kings come away and get the W.
The Kraken have been playing better. They're not the joke of the Pacific anymore like they were for a time. But I still, the Kings, you need to come away with 2 of this one. If you have come away with any less, you're going to be disappointed, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And Seattle's a tough place to play. Not only when the Kings play up there, but when I watch other games up in Seattle. They're never blowouts in favor of the other team. Like something about that atmosphere being in Seattle, the sunken in arena. I don't know if it has like this vibe, but Seattle is a very good home team. They play close, tight hockey games at home. So you don't want to lose these 2 points in a division matchup tonight.
No, and see, to your point, especially at home, the Kraken do play well at home. Seattle is a hockey town. It is a town that absolutely embraces its pucks, embraces the sport, embraces the team. So yeah, it's absolutely a good atmosphere there that they make at home. As my picture is apparently frozen. I'm not sure what happened there. Can you hear me, or am I?
Yeah, I
am I
can,
completely
I
frozen?
can hear you.
Okay.
Looks like
All
you're
right.
whistling Susie over there.
I'm there. My picture is frozen. I'll get that addressed, but you can hear me at least. That's the important thing. And hello to Larry B, by the way, chiming in. He is
a lot of Ducks talk
it.
On this show. Okay, we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Yes, and there's Taryn Rodriguez talking about the Anaheim Ducks. So I guess we have to. I guess we may as well talk about them. How about them Ducks? What on earth is going on there with the Anaheim Ducks at this point?
What was the phrase? I thought there was a phrase from the Mighty Ducks movies, like "Ducks never die" or something like that. But I think I'm thinking maybe that and mixed with the Goonies.
Yeah,
the Ducks are pulling these games together. Wow, they got shellacked in a 7-0 beating or 7-1 or whatever it was against Utah a few nights ago, and then Chicago on the back-to-back of their Western trip after losing 6-0 to LA, go in and they give up 7 to the Ducks on Sunday night and lose that game. Ducks are playing really well. Last night they were outplayed though by Pittsburgh significantly, almost 2-1 shot advantage for Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh had a lead 3-2, less than a minute to go, and actually on the power play. So Pittsburgh, had time to basically do what they wanted with the puck, play keep away, and they did so. There was a face-off with 17 seconds left. Pittsburgh wins the draw, but they take it back out to the neutral zone and then dump it in. And in doing that, there was about 8-9 seconds left. The Ducks were able to pull Ville Husso off, and they had like a run down the ice. It's like Tyus Edney from UCLA going coast to coast for that game-winning layup. That's what this was like watching the Ducks last night, is they go all the way down the ice. They managed to stay on side. Beckett Seneca goes down below the crease, flings the puck. It wasn't going to go towards the net, but it's Erik Karlsson of Pittsburgh coming in, sliding into the goaltender, and with his hand propels the puck into the net with 0.1 seconds remaining in the game. The Ducks tie the game and then go on to win the game in shootout. Unbelievable. Every which way this team is getting it done.
It's just bizarro, fortunate. You're seldom going to see goals like that. It's the stuff. Of course it would be the Ducks, because it's stuff that literally movies are made of, are things like that. The Ducks, of course,
incredible.
The Walt Disney team. So of course
there's no quit in these guys. I've seen them constantly. I try to watch every game I can intermixed when I'm watching the Kings, and I watch as much hockey as I can regardless, but I focus a lot on the local teams, and they're playing great. And in last night's game, the game-winning goal, Beckett Seneca, fastest rookie to reach 25 points this year. Now he's got to be in the conversation for the Calder, along with Matthew Schaefer, I think, as maybe the two top guys at this point. What do you think about that, Adam?
I absolutely. Yeah. We're 30 games in. They are 30 games in, and he's already at 25 goals. That's remarkable output.
He's doing fantastic. And
we talked about this about a month ago or so, when we were kind of, all right, we've seen enough of a sample size to get a feeling on teams a little bit. And I was like, okay, the Ducks, it's a terrific start. I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and no shame on them when it does, because it's still an incredible start. We're 30 games in.
I
The
thought
shoe
that
hasn't
shoe would have
dropped.
dropped at the 20 game mark. We did
Yeah.
talk about it, Adam, and I'm like, I'm just waiting. They have that bend but not break, and then they were, waterboarded and bending, so much last night, and then just didn't break. And in doing so, with that remarkable win, they moved up to the number 4 team in my power rankings this week. That game alone was incredible. Beckett Seneca, Leo Carlson, Troy Terry, everybody is really contributing. A little bit of a nastiness in the game the other night with that hit on from Jacob Trouba. Did you see that one behind the net when he kind of went high up there?
I saw some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just with the Ducks, what keeps surprising me.
Yeah.
You look at that division, the Pacific Division it's not a cakewalk of a division. You've got Vegas, you've got Edmonton, you've got the Kings, you've got legitimate deep playoff expectations from a lot of teams in this division. The Ducks are hanging with them and keeping with them, not only staying atop the Pacific, they are number 2 in the NHL in scoring.
Yeah.
Right now, the only team scoring more goals per game than the Anaheim Ducks are the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Would you have expected
Anaheim?
We wouldn't have expected that at Christmas. We're not quite to Christmas, but we're close enough.
Yeah. You know what? They're continuing. I thought maybe they would, not go on these runs. But, keep in mind, just 3 games ago, they did get shut out at home 7-0, I think it was, to Utah, right? So,
yes.
There are glimpses of some really great stuff. I think we may see those growing pains as the season goes on still. As long as they're healthy, I think that's what's most important. And they're down their top 2 goalies at this point as well. Ville Husso, the 3rd stringer, he plays down in San Diego, being heavily called upon. And every game, like we've mentioned, Adam, is so important in the league now that you can't waste a chance of losing 2 points every night. You have to. These points are so valuable this year.
Absolutely. And you brought up the competition for the Calder. Well, we're going to get to see that face to face tomorrow night as the Ducks go to New York to take on the Islanders. 7:00 puck drop, 4:00 out there in the West. Tomorrow night, Ducks Islanders. That
I can't wait for that game. That might be the first to 5 wins that one, a 5-4 shootout game again.
That is in a heavy slate tomorrow night in the NHL.
That's a fantastic game.
That is one to seek out.
I had the Islanders ranked number 7 2 weeks ago in my power rankings after they had gone 6-1 on a road trip. And then they had a little struggle. They come back. Now, this last week, the Islanders are 4-1 in their last 5. They've jumped back up in the Eastern Conference standings. And those 4 wins that they have over the last 5 games, 2 of them are against Tampa Bay, who is quite possibly one of the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. They also beat Colorado, giving Colorado only their 2nd regulation loss of the season. And then they beat Vegas last night. So high quality wins by this Islanders team. They're riding that roller coaster, and they seem to be peaking again right now. And this is even with the loss to Kyle Palmieri. I still think they're a team that, if they're in this position, that they may be a buyer rather than a seller, as we get closer to the trade deadline and playoffs.
I was just reading a little bit about that earlier today, and I would absolutely agree. Especially they've had a couple of injuries lately that you can put some guys on the long-term IR, free up some cash, and make some moves. I think it absolutely would make sense for the Islanders.
Islanders are playing fantastic. Bo Horvat right now is going on beast mode. He's on pace to scoring probably about 45 goals this year, and they're getting it from all aspects. And then you have Matthew Schaefer, who is, 18 years old and just a phenomenal blue liner, really leading that team. We didn't expect that from him at such an early age, but
no,
The youth from both of these teams, that's going to be should be top billing tomorrow as far as the slate of games go. I would say the youth of the NHL on full display.
Yeah, it was so funny when the draft came up this past spring. It was, well, this might not be the year to win the draft lottery, but hey, you're an Islanders fan. You never are upset to wind up winning that number one spot. Go get the best guy there. Go take Schaefer, and Schaefer is having an outstanding start to his young career. Well, you've teased it a couple of times. Let's dive in. Let's talk about your power rankings this week, starting at number 10 with those Boston Bruins.
Man, it was a coin flip. It was Boston Bruins. It could have been the Los Angeles Kings. I went with Boston. They're in such a tight division, as you know, and they are a very streaky team as well. They're getting really good goaltending. Jeremy Swayman has been outstanding so far this season, and they're getting the really good, depth on the blue line. Nikita Zadorov is one of the most untalked about stars, I think, in this league as far as defensemen go. He is ginormous on the ice. Reminds me of Zdeno Chara, and he's physical, but he's also a very good puck-moving defenseman. Plays a ton of minutes, and they're getting awesome scoring out of Morgan Geekie that we didn't expect to see, especially this early on in the season. He's on pace to maybe put up 50 this year. So outstanding. And then if you get David Pastrnak, healthy and going, this could be a very dangerous team. They were terrible last year, but I said in the preview this year that I did think Boston could be a team that's going to be on the rise. They couldn't put two bad seasons together.
Yeah. An organization like that, they know how to turn around and rebound. Yeah. Number 9, we've brought them up a little bit already. The New York Islanders.
Yep. Islanders number 9, back into the top 10. But in this crazy NHL season, you can be in the top 10 or you can be outside in just a week time. It is crazy how much things are changing.
Yep, absolutely. And then number 8, we've talked about them a little bit. Who do you have in your number 8 spot this week?
I still like Detroit. Detroit is playing fantastic. They're right now sitting in third in the Atlantic, behind just 1 point behind Tampa and Boston. I really like what I see out of Detroit. I like Dylan Larkin, Patrick Kane, Alex DeBrincat. Those guys are such a dynamic duo. They had their years in Chicago together, and now they're really producing for Detroit. Mo Sider, everybody on that Detroit team, very good. Goaltending still maybe, John Gibson and Cam Talbot. So I don't know about goaltending, but still a very good team. I do like them at number 8.
And then number 7,
Vegas. Vegas could have been higher a little bit, except for they did lose that game last night to the Islanders. The Pacific Division last night, we had the Ducks score with 1/10 of a second left. Edmonton scored, I believe, with like 7 seconds left, and then Vegas scored with 12 seconds left in that game. Those teams should have all lost in regulation, and they go away. 2 of them did lose in shootout and overtime, but crazy finish of hockey. Vegas, strong team. I do like them at number 8, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. They're
7. I'm sorry, number 7.
They're a team that got to be careful. They could very easily be on the verge of slipping. That's for sure. One team that I definitely would not see slipping is who you have at number 6. This is still one of my favorites, especially in the East. Who have you got at number 6?
They were who I picked to win the East as well, as Carolina. They were up number 2 or 3 in the power rankings a couple of weeks ago, but they're kind of going on a little slide, similar to what we had seen out of New Jersey recently. They were on a little slide. They're not even in the top 12 right now in the power rankings, but Carolina's still a very good team. I expect them to turn things around. The Metro and the Atlantic divisions are so close. We have a lot more distance in the Pacific and in the Central than we do on those Eastern Conference in standings. So, I mean, you can go on a little run. The points are so valuable. And right now, Carolina is not stringing wins together. So they're dropping a little bit in the rankings.
Yeah. The Metro still just to drive the point home. And this is more spread out from how it's been. 7 points is what's separating first from last.
You're starting to see a little separation now. Yeah.
a small amount, but it's still 4 points is all that separates first from sixth. It's still a very, very, very tightly contested metro in there. So yeah, it's for Carolina to still be at the top of the division. It's a tight division. It doesn't take much to fall. One bad week could see you take a massive tumble. But I still like them. Speaking of tumbles a little bit, number 5, the Lightning, little bit of a rough week.
They did have a rough week, and then, they were shut out a couple nights ago to Toronto, but they did bounce back and blew Montreal out of the building last night. Tampa Bay, though, is still dealing with a lot of injuries. Kucherov is back, and he is scoring again. Braden Point is back as well. That's a huge plus for Tampa Bay. Yeah, they're going to be just fine. I think they're one of those top teams that we thought in the beginning of the season was going to be up there. But the injury bug is really hurt them a little bit. They'll get healthy and they'll be just fine.
Yeah. Number 4, we talked about them a lot. I think we're still both just shocked that they're here. The Anaheim Ducks, a top 5 team in the NHL right now, as we're nearly to Christmas.
I can't believe it. Number 4, and that's only because the 3 teams ahead of them are just playing at an elite level, or else the Ducks could be even higher. Number 3, the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, now I'll be honest, this is another one to me that I'm a little surprised that they're here. I very much expected to see the Capitals take a bit of a dive this season, just because there was so much emotion and energy for Ovechkin to get the record last year.
Yeah.
It happened. I felt like there was going to just naturally be an exhale, man, we can't keep this.
I thought
maintain that for this long.
I thought that as well. And I still do believe that they're just the hottest team in the Eastern Conference right now. And they could be they can go on a streak and they can be mid-pack again, but they were the best team in the Eastern Conference last year. Spencer Carberry is getting everybody together. I really like him as a coach. I've said it before. He can coach any one of my teams, and I would be super happy. He gets everybody to buy in, and Ovi's scoring goals. Tom Wilson is doing outstanding as well. They're getting great offense from the defensemen like John Carlson and Jacob Chitrin. These guys are really good. But again, if Tampa Bay or say Florida or Toronto get hot, they could jump up, and then Washington could slip up. Anything can happen, but Washington is good.
The other thing with Washington that's allowing them to maintain this is Logan Thompson.
My gosh. He's got to be
have goalie will travel,
Man, he's got to be up there right now for a top Vezina finalist for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think
the way he's playing.
I think the Olympic team as well for Logan Thompson.
We'll see. We'll get into that discussion a little bit later too. Mm-hmm. Now we get into the top 2 where, all right, if you people want to nitpick a little bit, okay, maybe fine. To me, 1 and 2 are, if these aren't 1 and 2, your power rankings are pretty much wrong. So number 2
is the Dallas Stars. They just keep doing it. And with our number 1 team, having a couple slip ups that we weren't expecting to see, through the first 20 plus games, Dallas has even gained a little more ground. They're playing outstanding. They're 9-1-2 in their last 12, and their last regulation loss actually was against the New York Islanders of all teams. So the Islanders are beating really good teams. Let's just put it like that.
Beating solid competition.
You look at who they've beaten. They've beaten all the top teams in the league, especially the Western Conference.
They're just.
I love
nobody's telling them that they shouldn't be. So therefore, you see that sometimes, especially with young players and young teams. It's like, oh, we're not supposed to beat those guys. Oh, sorry, nobody told us that. Sorry, we'll try better next time.
Dallas is another one of those teams I like to watch as well. They're up and down the ice. They're so good and skilled. They could score from 3 lines on out, and their defense is spectacular. Is where Miro Heiskanen is when he's healthy, he could be one of the top defensemen in the league. I love watching him play. Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnston, Jamie Benn. coming back from injury. He's now putting up points as well. Is he the Jamie Benn of old? If he is, that's just a huge boost for Dallas. They need that because Tyler Seguin did go down with an injury, so that's going to hurt them a little bit. But Jake Ottinger in net, Dallas could easily jump up to the number one team come next week. We'll see.
Yeah. And then right now, staying in number one, to me, is still solidly number one. But I know others, yourself included, are starting to see some chinks in the armor here. The Colorado Avalanche, they keep winning. They just keep winning.
Do. They're like Dory in Finding Nemo. Just keep winning. Just keep winning. Right?
Yep.
And Colorado, a couple hiccups. They did lose in regulation, only their second regulation loss of the year. That was earlier in the week to the New York Islanders. And then last night, they score the fourth of the game-tying goals within the last minute of the game, which is a fantastic night of hockey. And they go on and lose in shootout. Not only did they lose the game in the shootout to Nashville, but they also lost Scott Wedgwood again to an injury in which Philip Forsberg was going in, no fault of his own, loses an edge. And Wedgwood was in a very bad position, and he was in the splits, and he got run into in the split position. I hope that wasn't, anything significant or serious. That two-headed goalie tandem in Colorado has been huge for them, and he was out just a little while ago, just came back. Hopefully not too serious, but Colorado's still there. Nathan McKinnon still scoring at will. What does he have, like 51 points now on the season? And Cale Makar running away defensively, with 36 points. So those guys are still doing fantastic. Watch out, though. Dallas, I think they're more of a complete team right now still. I think Dallas is going to make their way. They'll be number one here shortly.
Well, it's going to be something fun
to
keep an eye on. So the weekly power rankings, where did we go right? Where did we go wrong? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. And if you have an argument for your team, we'd love to hear it. Give us your argument. We'll debate on where your team ranks.
Fire away with it. We love it. Well, we are going to take for ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we've got potentially a family reunion upcoming out in New Jersey. And will NHL players be making the trek to Italy? They want to, but then again, they also want to be making sure that, they're actually playing in a reasonable facilities and reasonable rink. We will discuss that. Plus, we'll take a look around the NCAA and the PWHL and get you caught up there as well. This is the Neutral Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after this. Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back on into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam and Freddie back with you here. So before we threw to break, we challenged everybody in the chat room, in the comments, whether you're watching across YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, state your case for the power rankings. And Jay Green 15 over on Twitch said there's an argument to be made for the Minnesota Wild in the top 10. Freddie, agree or disagree, first of all?
There is an argument. Minnesota was in the top 10 last week, but unfortunately, they had a losing end to their Western Canadian trip, losing big games to the Calgary Flames and Vancouver Canucks. Losing to the two worst teams in the Western Conference was the main reason why I think Minnesota dropped out of my power rankings. They did beat Seattle, but they have a huge contest going up against Dallas tomorrow, I believe. So we'll see how that game plays out. And when is it?
Night. Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow night, right?
Yep.
So that's a huge game. We'll see. That'll be a big test for Minnesota. Jesper Wallstedt, not the strongest of games over the weekend as well. We're expecting shutouts from him every other night. It seems like at this point of the season, but in this NHL, you can be outside of the top 10, and like I said, you can be inside in a week's time. So if Minnesota could especially beat Dallas, I would be surprised if they jump back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So good call there by G Green 15.
Absolutely.
Just on the fringe.
Yeah.
Just on the fringe. We've seen them there before, and I'm with you. I think we will see them there again. It just gotta have a little bit more solid. You can't be.
There's a lot of teams fighting to get into that top 10 right now. You've got Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles. There's a lot of good teams, Minnesota. So you can be in next week. Stay tuned, and you'll be surprised at who does make the power ranking top 10.
Absolutely. So it's the holidays. It's the time for, first of all, eating way too much food. I've been guilty of that lately. It's the time for the stress of getting to where you got to be and getting the hustle and bustle. But it's also supposed to be the time of getting to see friends that you haven't seen for a while, or for family reunions. Might we be getting ready to see that out in New Jersey? So we've already got two of the Hughes boys out there, but the third is on the trade market, and New Jersey has been making the argument and has been stating the case fervently that they want to have all three of them. So are we going to see a Hughes line in New Jersey out here?
I would love to see that. And I that was my initial thought was, with the Vancouver situation and Quinn Hughes, if he does get dealt, I think New Jersey would be the team to have all the Hughes brothers playing together. But, I'm seeing now some other NHL insiders throwing other teams into the equation as well. I'd love to see it in New Jersey. I think it would be great. If Jack Hughes can stay healthy, they'll have all three of them play. It seems like one of them is hurt all the time. So yeah, New Jersey would be awesome. I did hear Detroit as a possibility as well. I don't know who's mentioning that. Emmett Finney and a couple of other prospects where some of the names may be going back to Vancouver. I don't know if that's just fantasy hockey trades or whatnot.
Right.
But no, Quinn Hughes' services could be used across the entire league. He's easily the second best defenseman to Cale Makar, in my opinion. He is so skilled. I can't wait to see what he can do for Team USA in the Olympics this year. It's going to be great seeing him out there and representing the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, and let's face it, no team that is in competition looking to make a playoff run, none of them are going to say, "Oh, we don't, our blue line is fine." You can always use a goalie. You can always use blue line depth. You're never going to have too much depth at the blue line. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, no, I mean, New Jersey might be looking to make that transaction happen sooner rather than later because, they had lost 4 or 5 in a row. They did win again, got back on track, but they were kind of in a little bit of a free fall right there. And maybe, shaking things up and bringing Quinn Hughes in sooner than expected could be the boost that New Jersey needs to get back into the Eastern Conference race.
Now I've got this pulled up from Yardbarker talking about it, and I want to get your reaction and some of your thought on this because they bring in, this is Jackson Weber of Yardbarker brings us up three other teams beside the Devils, because I think the Devils would absolutely be the front runner because it just makes sense. They're in competition. The Metro is insane this year, insanely competitive. You've got the 2 other brothers there. You could now get all 3 of them there together. They would be the front runners. But here are the other 3 teams. You've got the Detroit Red Wings, who would have to be the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the Flyers and the Blackhawks.
Wow. I did hear the Blackhawks as well.
So what do you think, first of all, with Flyers and Blackhawks first? Because we talked a little bit about the Red Wings.
The Flyers are like that bubble team too. We're seeing a lot out of them this year. They've got a lot of good youth, and they do have pieces that they can move as well. I don't know how long you could just ride the Sanheim train. He does need help on the back end there in Philadelphia, and Rick Tocchet has that familiarity with Quinn Hughes, having coached in Vancouver and having coached him. So they do have that connection right there. Maybe that's why, Rick Tocchet may want him in Philadelphia.
It could. Chicago, to me, I'd like them. Are you asking me, do you want Jack Hughes on the Blackhawks?
Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To me, it's almost 2 separate questions. In an abstract, just in the general ether and the void, do I want Quinn Hughes on the Blackhawks? Certainly. Of course. He's one of the best young blue liners in the game. Absolutely. Do I want the Blackhawks to trade for him?
No, you don't want to sell the farm.
And the Blackhawks farm in particular has so many blue liners in it that I'm very torn on that to see the Blackhawks name in there. First of all, I feel like it's too early to really start buying like that. I would want to see a little bit more production out of the team first. Yeah. I think they're not quite. You're not quite at that point to be making blockbuster mega Uber deals like that. I feel like it's a hair too soon. Of course, the price of poker only ever goes up. It never becomes cheaper, whether monetarily or through trade assets to acquire guys like this. So, strike while the iron's hot, I suppose. But on the other end, they've got a ton of blue liners in the farm already. Now,
Yeah, I think that one is probably the least likely to happen. Him going. I mean, Chicago is doing incredible with what they've got right now so far this season in that youth. Let's let it play out and see what happens before you start dismantling and selling away some of these valuable assets. Like you mentioned with Chicago right now, Alex Vlasic, Wyatt Kaiser, Artem Leshinov, those guys are having some really good seasons. And then obviously, what you get out of Connor Murphy. Chicago's blue line is pretty stout. They're a good set of guys, and they have that youth. I really like watching Levshinov. Do you get to see him much? I got to see him, the last few nights, when they played the Kings and then the Ducks. I watched 3 straight Hawks games, and I do like what I see out of him on the ice. He could be a star.
Yes. Oh, they've got some wonderful potential there at the blue line. Now, you throw somebody like Quinn Hughes in there, and who needs potential when you have guaranteed production? So I do understand the idea behind it, but I would be surprised. That would surprise me a lot. That would still
I still think New Jersey seems to be the spot.
Yes,
I don't think he's going to stay in Vancouver. I think that's a given at this point.
I agree. I would agree. I would agree there. All right, let's move on. Then we talked about this a little bit last week as well. The concern with the Olympics, specifically for hockey, specifically with the stadium. First of all, it's not even finished being built. They're still finishing it. We've talked about how the rink is almost the size of the ice is almost certainly going to be smaller than what the players and the NHL said. Hey, if we're going to have our players playing, this is how big the rink needs to be. They've got that wrong. A lot of the facilities probably aren't going to be up to snuff, but the thing really that the players are most concerned with, worried about, that is number one and chief on their list, is the quality of the ice itself. That if the ice is unsafe, then they're just not going to play. Bill Daley, the deputy commissioner of the NFL, told the board of governors, it's as simple as that. If the ice isn't safe, we're not playing. They're not sending the guys over. Now, there are now in Milan, there are NHL officials who are overseeing and working in conjunction with the local crews there in Milan to build the ice, to be building the rink and working with them on all this. So it seems less dire than it was a week ago. There's still no plan B in place. No. If this can't be ready, it's just, it's going to be here, and it's going to be what it's going to be.
Bring it back to the States. NHL rinks are going to be vacant during those 2 weeks. Other events, obviously they can squeeze in, but they, what if they did just, you can't just cancel it completely.
If your team US, I mean, for all these teams, if the NHL pulls the plug and says, yep, we're not allowing our players because the ice isn't safe, all the teams are going to have to be scrambling to fill their rosters. I mean, you're going into the college ranks. You're looking at the minor league ranks. You're looking at your Swedish league, your German leagues, your European leagues, where you've got guys and just, hey, you're not in the NHL. Get in here, B team, get in here. Here we go. Let's make this happen.
Like the replacement players in the Major League Baseball. Remember that? Okay.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I went to some of those games. Those were fun.
You're just gonna have to scramble to fill it. But
so what I heard is, Gary Bettman is extremely disappointed as well. And to hear that's powerful coming out of Gary Bettman, that, he's disappointed in this. The ice isn't even expected to go into the arena until, they're saying now, the end of this month or early January. Right. And we had that whole, test event set for January 9th through the 11th as like a precursor, to see how things are going. But here's a quote from Gary Bettman. He said, in all of the prior Olympics, whether they were built permanently or temporary facilities, it's never been this late for competition and the building of ice. He says that's why they're cautious, is that this is taking so long.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope they can get it going, because we've been waiting for this moment for so long.
Yeah. It is frustrating. Now, we did get also in the Board of Governors meetings, we did get a tiny update on the World Cup of Hockey that's going to be going on here in a couple of years, that they do have it narrowed down to, I think I saw it was about 16 cities that they're going to narrow down to. There's going to be 2 in North America and 2 in Europe that will be the host sites.
Nice.
And then the championship will be in North America. So they're whittling that down. They have not announced who any of the cities are. It does look like Boston and Montreal are going to be usually in the running in North America, which makes sense.
Yeah. I think they've done that in the past, where it was like Toronto and Boston, I think is what it was before. So yeah, that's great. I can't wait. I wish they had some international games out this way. That would be outstanding. Like a little, remember like when the Soviet Red Army team would come and play the NHL All-Stars or something like that.
Yep.
A little traveling circus.
Have some good of those, but so there is some good news on the international front this week, that there are progress is still being made, and we're still on track to have the World Cup of Hockey here in a little bit. So at least there is that, even though if the Olympics, obviously, though, the significantly larger event, World Cup of Hockey, that'll be hockey fans that'll tune into that. The
Olympic concession food might taste like crap and you'll have to use porta potties, but at least get the ice done so the guys can play. And the women. Absolutely.
Well, and remember, the women's tournament actually starts before the opening ceremony. So they've got to get this going very quickly, very, very quickly in Italy. Well, let's shift gears here over a little bit for a moment, and let's get down into the college rankings for a moment, shall we? We've got some shakeup and so some movement going on in the NCAA rankings right now. You've got 4 teams that are getting first place votes. Number 1, Michigan, the Wolverines, the number 1 team. They staying at number 1.
Split a weekend series with Sparty at Michigan State. They took the first game of that series. I watched a little bit of it. And then Michigan State did win the second game. So they split, but Michigan does still remain the highest scoring team in the country as well. And very fun to watch. A lot of talent on that team, but they're still number 1.
A lot of talent there. Coming in at number 2, the Wisconsin Badgers, 21 first place votes, 12-2-2 overall on the season, staying at number 2. Number 3, you mentioned Sparty splitting with the Wolverines over the weekend. They got 2 first place votes, 12-4-0 on the year. They remain at number 3, at a comfortable 40 points behind Wisconsin too for number 3. A flip-flop here at 4 and 5. North Dakota moves up from 5 to 4 at 12-4-0 overall, and Minnesota Duluth falling from 4 to 5. Pretty close there. They're only separated by about 9 points.
The team that's really making moves right now, and they did garner that first place vote, is Dartmouth.
Yes,
they're 10-0, and they are averaging over 4 goals a game themselves. They have some of the top leaders in college hockey as far as statistical categories go, and right now, 10-0, I think it is, ranked number 5, and look out for ranked number 8. I'm sorry. Yep. I was looking at another power rankings that had them as high as number 5. So, man, look out for Dartmouth.
Yes, Dartmouth. So Dartmouth moving up. As a result, also Quinnipiac falling from 8 down to 10. They're in there. Some other some other big movers. UConn jumping up to number 12 this week,
Yes.
9-5-3 overall. Boston College also moving up from 15 to 13. Minnesota State falling to 14. Maine, a big fall from 11 down to 15 this week. And then look who's making an appearance in the rankings at number 18, Harvard. So we've got another Ivy League school. Well, I mean, it's hockey. Yeah, that's to be expected. But Harvard at 7-3-1 overall, not ranked a week ago. They are at 18 overall, in front of Colorado College at number 19, and then Boston University fell from 18 to 20 this week. So some of the not a ton of movement at the very top, but in the middle and towards the bottoms, we're seeing some movement there.
Yeah, a lot of shakeup in the movement there. Just looking tonight, one game tonight, and I believe it was Maine picking up the win tonight. So they won in overtime. So Thursdays and Saturdays are usually the big days when it comes to hockey in the college ranks. Thursday nights and Saturday nights, and some of the matchups. Denver at St. Cloud State. That could be a tough one for Denver. Number 6 team going into St. Cloud State. We know what we expect out of them. The last couple of weeks, it was crazy because we saw what Wisconsin did to Michigan State, sweeping them, and then Wisconsin, loses a couple of games here. They could have been easily number 1, but Michigan's still hanging on to that right now. But college hockey, it's fun, and if you get the Big Ten Network, watch the games. I think they have the game of the week. It should be on tomorrow night. I don't know if there is one tomorrow night or not, but they usually have a game of the week on the Big Ten Network. Watch some hockey. I did watch a little bit of hockey. It was Sunday night or Sunday afternoon because the afternoon NFL games were just trash. None of them were close. They were all blowouts. So I watched the UMass and Northeastern game, and that was a good game there. Northeastern, doing pretty well this season. So I think they're number 12 right now.
There you go.
If you can watch hockey, man, watch hockey. It's great, especially the college guys.
When in doubt, yes, absolutely. When in doubt, let's watch some hockey, play some hockey, all those good things. Absolutely. And then as we get ready to wrap up here too, we will take a look over at the PWHL as well. They're in a little bit of a break this week, but there were some games last week and some things of note that will get you caught up with on the PWHL side, as well as they're getting ready for the takeover tours to begin in earnest there as well. They're going to be doing a lot of traveling in the PWHL here too coming up. So some big games. Boston,
they're still rolling.
They're still rolling. Absolutely hammered the defending champion Minnesota Frost 4-1 on Sunday. Vancouver with a huge regulation win over New York, 4-0 in the Pacific Coliseum. That was on Saturday. Seattle last week, after we got off the air, the Seattle Torrent got its first regulation win in dramatic fashion. They fell behind 1-0 basically at the start of the game, and then Seattle came from behind to win it 2-1. Their two goals, Alex Carpenter and Hillary Knight, scoring exactly 22 seconds apart.
Incredible.
Both in the final 2 minutes of the game.
That's awesome.
That one.
So you go to see Hillary Knight. I mean, she's just worth the price of admission alone. And, when you get, that's like going to a game and watching Sid or Ovechkin or one of the guys. You go to you watch the superstar, and when they score, it's so much special on that night. Like, the superstar scored the goal rather than, you get shut out or the fourth liner picks one up. But you go to see the superstar. When they deliver, that's even more special. So props to Seattle for getting that first W.
For getting their first their first win in franchise history in dramatic fashion. So we take a quick look at the PWHL standings. Everybody's played at least 3 games. The Sirens have played 5. The Golden Eyes have also played 5. But they are kind of the outliers. Everybody else, either 3 or 4 games on the season. Starting at the top, the Boston Fleet, undefeated. Every single win has also come in regulation. So they are a perfect 12 out of 12 possible points in 4 games played.
Yeah.
Sitting atop, absolutely dominating.
I can't believe it. We saw Erin Frankel go from a 0.31 goals against average. She's now at a 0.5. She did give up a goal in the game the other night. So she is 4-0 still, but a half a goals against average. So
oh no,
she's still up the league. I didn't want to be playing against her. You put her in net. I got to ask Brian, how dominant she is, and if she really makes that big of a difference in net. Again, Brian went to the game last week.
It doubled the amount of goals she gave up for the entire season, giving up that 1 goal against Minnesota.
Exactly. Good for her, though.
Strong start for the Fleet.
Jersey sales are going to be going up for Erin Frankel.
Indeed. Then you've got a massive log jam there at the number 2 spot. Montreal, Toronto, Minnesota, and the Sirens, all with 6 points to this point in the season. Now, Montreal gets the edge because they've played the fewest games of that group. The Victory have only played 3 games on the season, so the 2 regulation wins and the 1 regulation loss give them their 6 points. But Toronto and Minnesota, both with 4 games played, also with 6 points. They've got 2 regulation losses in there. And then the New York Sirens, 3 regulation losses, keeping them there. But I mean, all you need is 1 win and you can jump up in there. Then at number 6, the Vancouver Golden Eyes, they've got 5 points in 5 games, a regulation win, an overtime win, and then the 3 regulation losses. Seattle at number 7 with they finally got the win to go along with a regulation loss, but they got a ways to go there. And then in the 8th spot, the Ottawa Charge, only 3 points, 1 regulation win in 4 games, then 3 regulation losses. Not good for the
still early
league runner-ups from a season ago. But yeah, it's early. It's very early. It's very, very early overall. Yeah, as they are setting the stage. So basically, they've got in the PWHL, they've got this week off. The next game on the schedule there is Ottawa will be taking on Vancouver next week, Tuesday. Then they've got a busy night
Wednesday.
next Wednesday next week. 3 games on the docket next Wednesday. So we'll be adding them to our roster of games that we'll be keeping an eye on next week as we do the show.
Yeah, there'll be games going on as we're doing it. Ottawa, Seattle, the nightcapper. So that'll be a good one right there.
Yeah, that'll be.
I did flip after the show last week. There were the 2 late games. I think it was the Ducks and the Sharks. That's so funny. We said those are going to be outstanding games. Ducks lost like 7-0 to Washington. Oh no, that was the game they lost to Utah, and the Sharks got blown out by Washington like 7-1 or something like that. They were both blowouts. So I ended up watching the women's game. That was the most exciting game of the night.
Hey, it's good, solid hockey. And sometimes when, sometimes the games that you expect the least from wind up giving you that surprise, and it's well worth it. So speaking of the scores, let's get you caught up on the couple of games that were going on. One went final that I am very happy about. The other one may as well be final. On the NHL side tonight, we've got the Blackhawks held on, got the shutout 3-0 over the New York Rangers tonight, adding in a goal late. Tyler Bertuzzi adding
16th
in the
of the year.
already 16 for Bertuzzi. Bedard at 19. He's one away from getting to 20 already for his goals on the season. And then Spencer Knight, the 21 save shutout. Up in Calgary, the Red Wings absolutely putting one on the Flames, 4-0 with just under 8 minutes to go in the second period. Then Dylan Larkin with a goal. Alex DeBrincat, he's looking like he might be getting a hat trick. He's got a goal. Oh, excuse me. Yes, he's got 2 goals tonight. I was thinking he had 2. Yes, yep. Alex DeBrincat, 2 goals, and he's got the assist tonight. So a big multi-point night for DeBrincat. And then in Utah, early in the second period, the Panthers doubling up the Mammoth right now, 2-1, despite being outshot 13-11.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Florida. You know, they've had the injury bug, but I do think Barkov is going to be back sooner than expected. He'll be fully healthy in time for this team to make a deep playoff run in the East, like we mentioned before. I'm looking forward to the Kings tonight taking on Seattle. I want to see if we can build upon what they've done the last 2 games and get that offense from everybody right now. You know, Kevin Fiala leads the team with 10 goals. I like to see a little bit more contribution. Fiala, you know, we haven't seen anything out of Quentin Byfield in quite some time. Philip Deneau is goalless on the season. I'd like to see those guys start doing something, because if they can get production from those guys, which they heavily counted upon before, this team can make another run, I think, and get into that playoffs picture.
I like it. Yeah. And go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You know what? We'll talk about it next week, but I wanted to bring up, I brought up earlier, Logan Thompson and his chance and his legitimate fight, as well as Darcy Kemper, to make that Team Canada roster. I know Team Canada had dwindled their final guys down to, I think, the number 30. And by, next week, we'll have some more news. Maybe we can dive deeper into what the rosters will be like for both Team Canada and Team USA.
Absolutely. We will pencil that in for next week, Wednesday. Absolutely. We will do some Olympic preview, taking a look at the Canadian and US teams, because let's face it, those guys are going to be the favorites once we do get to Milan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you hear the horn. You know what that means. We have hit the end of the show this week. Thank you once again to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. They are offering free shipping on all orders of $50 and above. It is fantastic stuff. You will enjoy it, I promise. And thank you also to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. When you go to vitalapparel.com, use the promo code IESR, and you get 15% off of your order. We thank them. Thank you to Larry B., the czar and overlord of all things IE Sports Radio, for doing all the nitty-gritty work behind the scenes, sir. Thank you for the hard work. It does not go unnoticed, nor is it unappreciated. Thank you, sir. Thank you to everybody that was hanging out in the chat room with us tonight. Jay Green 15, Taryn Rodriguez, Larry B., Brian Francione, Stanley Grimes, and Damien Keening. Thank you, one and all, for commenting in the chat room. Thank you to the nearly 400 people watching the show live tonight across YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We appreciate you guys sticking around and hanging out here with us. Thank you also to everybody that watched the show later on YouTube as a podcast later on in the week. We appreciate that. He is Freddie. I am Adam. Together we do this crazy thing called the Neutral Zone. We do it every Wednesday night, right around 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We try to get it started as close as we can. Hockey time. We all know what that means. Next week we'll be talking some Olympic rosters. We'll check in also on the NHL, see what's going on there, and any other news, fun, and exciting things that pop up in the hockey world between now and then. Until then, he is Freddie. I am Adam. We are the Neutral Zone. We will see you next week. Have a great one, everybody.
Good night.